India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri begins a three-day visit to Washington, where he will meet senior officials of the Trump administration. The trip follows Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit in February, during which a new strategic partnership was unveiled. The US-India compact aims to deepen ties in defense, trade and advanced technologies, and includes a target of doubling bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. Mr. Misri also likely to cover trade given the threat of punitive tariffs, reports pointing to a US delegation likely to head to India next month. And also in the US this week, India's Deputy National Security Advisor, Pavan Kapoor, expected to take part in a dialogue under the Trust mechanism. Now, this focuses on cooperation in strategic and emerging technologies. Next week, we'll see the arrival of a 9-member Indian parliamentary delegation. Their goal to reinforce New Delhi's opposition to terrorism. This comes in the wake of recent conflict between India and Pakistan, sparked by a deadly terror attack on tourists in the disputed Kashmir region. The timing is delicate. Bilateral ties have been strained since US President Donald Trump claimed that he helped to broker a ceasefire between India and Pakistan earlier this month. That is a claim rejected by New Delhi, which maintains that ceasefire followed direct contact and involved no third parties. And more, Neha Poonia joins us live from New Delhi. Neha, given that New Delhi and Washington have not agreed on who brokered the ceasefire, what is India hoping to achieve from this visit by the Foreign Secretary?
Well, officially, this visit is aimed at furthering discussions that were kick-started by President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi when the two leaders met soon after the American president walked into the White House at the start of the year. Back then, they had held discussions about making this strategic partnership more mutually beneficial, and that's when they had announced an initiative called Compact, which stands for Catalyzing Opportunities for Military Partnership, Accelerated Commerce and Technology, with Donald Trump saying that India had agreed to buy more defense equipment, oil from the US, and also make the trade partnership more equitable, which is when we saw discussions for that trade pact that's currently being negotiated begin. Now, officials say that Vikram Misri will further those discussions, look at how bilateral ties can further be expanded. But there's also going to be a discussion and mention of Operation Sindoor, which was the military strikes that India carried out inside Pakistan following that terror attack in Kashmir. There is concern here in New Delhi that President Trump's repeated comments about claiming credit for brokering that ceasefire have rubbed New Delhi the wrong way. This visit is being seen as an outreach by New Delhi to try and fix those strained ties. We've seen how India's foreign minister who's been touring Europe this week has been repeatedly telling media outlets, every media briefing he's doing, how this ceasefire was brokered directly between New Delhi and Islamabad, and no third party was involved. There's also concern that President Trump, offering to mediate several times on the issue of Kashmir between New Delhi and Islamabad, has also forced the internationalization of the issue of Kashmir, something that India considers very much a bilateral issue. So these issues, we're being told, will likely come up in the engagements between the Foreign Secretary, the Deputy National Security Advisor, and US officials as well. But of course, there's also concern here in New Delhi that at a time when a trade pact is being discussed, something that could be signed as early as July, there aren't enough American officials engaging with New Delhi, especially with the post of the US ambassador lying vacant here in New Delhi since January.
Neha, of course, news as well of India's defense minister approving the framework to build the country's most advanced stealth fighter jet. Many countries are bolstering their defense capabilities, so not surprising there. But given all the other sensitivities which you have mentioned in the recent ceasefire with Pakistan, how significant is this move by India's defense minister?
It's certainly significant. In the aftermath of this conflict between Pakistan and India, we have seen both sides try and ramp up their defense spending and their defense capabilities, and there's a very big reason for that. In that military conflict, we saw both countries entered uncharted territory for the first time. This was drone warfare, something that at least the subcontinent has not seen before, and that's now led to a drones arms race, according to experts. We've seen how India has been talking about making advanced Russian missiles in the last couple of weeks, ramping up air defense capabilities, and now, of course, talking about building this fifth generation stealth fighter aircraft. Now, only two countries have this capability, according to defense experts. That's the US and China, and India is hoping to enter that elite club very soon. India has also been talking about how Operation Sindoor set a new benchmark for how it deals with terror threats from across the border, and that India is very much focused on defending itself if there are going to be future terror attacks coming in from Pakistan. This is also coming at a time when India's squadron of mostly Russian and now French aircraft, the numbers have fallen. These aircraft were also used in that military conflict between India and Pakistan, and India is very keen to bolster, that squadron, especially at a time when Pakistan is using one of China's most advanced warplanes, which is the J-10. So all of this being done with that in mind.
Well, thanks. That Neha Poonia there reporting live from New Delhi.